love it chunky. Fresh. Green onions. Butter, butter, butter. Today I am making what I'm known for, my macaroni and cheese. It is so sinful. People ask me all the time, Sita, what do you put in your mac and cheese? Well, today I'm not only gonna tell you what I put in it, I'm gonna show you exactly what I do to make the famous Mama Sita's macaroni and cheese. I'm gonna start with the sharp cheeses. I already have them shredded. We have sharp cheddar shredded. We have sharp yellow cheddar shredded. Cheddar. Then I have mild cheddar, this gold cheese here. And then the middle cheese is Havarti. It's a nice, mild, soft cheese, very meltable, very good. And this last cheese is Gouda. Gouda gives it that wonderful, rich flavor. So we've got 5 different flavors going on. We have lots of butter. Lots of butter will be in the mix, people. See, I can really sin when Lisa's not here. We have an egg that's gonna go in the mix. We have flour that's going in the mix. And we also have a breadcrumb topping that's gonna go on top. So let's start off by making our cream sauce. We start the cream sauce with melted butter. You can melt your butter in the pan or you can melt it ahead of time like what I did. And so I've got melted butter here. This is 2 sticks of butter, but I'm not gonna use 2 sticks on you. I'm gonna pour about half of this here and then I'm gonna save the rest for some other parts of the recipe. So I'm gonna pour in at least 1 stick of the butter. Okay, make sure your butter is on low. If you melt your butter in the pan, make sure you start it off in the pan and keep the heat on low. We're gonna add in flour slowly to make what's called a roux. That's gonna be a paste. So I'm just gonna start shaking flour. I'm not measuring it, but I'm stirring it constantly as I add the flour in. And I'm gonna watch it turn into a paste. Right now, it's a little lumpy. We're just gonna keep stirring until all those lumps are gone. We have a nice, smooth paste. The key to delicious mac and cheese is this cream sauce. So you have to be very careful and keep stirring constantly because you don't want the butter or the cream to burn. So once you have a paste, you wanna go ahead and pour in 1 cup of your half and half. And then and keep stirring because it's gonna start to thicken up. Now that I have a cup of half and half, I'm gonna add the killer, heavy cream. Look at it, so luscious. Okay, now we're probably gonna end up adding more, but I just wanted to give you a basis to start on because that way you kind of know how much to use. I'm gonna sprinkle maybe 2 pinches of salt. Remember, you don't want too much salt because you've salted the water for your macaroni, your elbow macaroni. There's salt in the cheese, there's salt in the butter. I'm telling you, this is a sinfully delicious dish. It's a meal all by itself, but you have to balance it out. You can't just eat sinful all the time. This is oh so creamy. It looks delicious. I can feel the creaminess. I grew up eating homemade mac and cheese because I had a family of 6. 6 kids actually were in my family, and my parents, of course. And my stepmother, Savannah, she was a home chef, and my dad required that everything we ate was homemade. So she started making mac and cheese I started when I was about 10 years old. So you can imagine how many times I've put this recipe together, and I've tweaked it here and there, and we do different things every time we make it, but the basics are the same. And I'm so happy that I have the basics down. I had to come home from school every night, and before I did my homework, I had to get in the kitchen and help cook dinner for 6 kids and 2 parents. Look how creamy that is. Wow. That's how you want it to be. We have our cooked elbow macaroni in the bowl, ready to be mixed together. I'm gonna take 1 egg and I'm gonna beat that together. And the egg really helps the macaroni, the pasta, stick together in the pan. So I'm just gonna beat that egg and pour it in there. And I'm gonna use my fingers. My hands are clean, but your fingers are your best tool in the kitchen. Get everything mixed up very well. Trust me, I am a germ and dirt fanatic, so I'm always washing my hands. Okay, so now that the elbow macaroni is covered in a scrambled raw egg, we don't need to add any salt, but we're gonna add some ground black pepper. I'd say grind at least a teaspoon of black pepper and then give that a toss. The reason I use a deep bowl is so that I can toss it around and no macaroni is falling out of the bowl. All right, it's time to assemble our mac and cheese. This is the fun part. Okay, we can't forget to preheat the oven. Press bake, and we're gonna make sure it's on 350. So while that's heating, we're gonna go ahead and assemble the mac and cheese. Make sure you coat your pan with cooking spray. Once our pan is coated with cooking spray, we're gonna add 1 layer of macaroni. Less than an inch deep. Okay, so once we have our first layer of macaroni, we are going to start layering the cheese in. And the reason why I have grated cheese is because I like the grated cheese to get into the middle of the macaroni. It melts all the way through. And then I have the cut up squares that'll actually lay on the top and just ooze over the mac and cheese. I like it cheesy, so I have like a combination of the two. So we have at least a ½ inch. I'm gonna just basically like break up the pieces of mild cheddar. Got to mix the cheeses around because that's the key to the 5 cheese mac and cheese. Making sure that every bite you can taste all the different cheeses. And then I'm gonna put some Havarti. So the smoked Gouda gives it such a rich flavor. And as you notice, it's not too cheesy. You don't want to over cheese it, but it kind of looks like I am over cheesing it. But really, I'm just sprinkling kind of lightly. Now we're gonna do another layer. So we've got 5 layers of elbow macaroni and all these wonderful cheeses. As you noticed, I didn't use all this cheese. I just, had it on my tray. Yummy. Sinful. Good. Sinfully good. I'm gonna have to invite some company because I can't eat this by myself. I think I'll call Lisa and the kids. She's got enough boys that'll eat this in about 5 minutes. Now the fun part. If you don't think it's sinful enough, we're gonna add the cream sauce. Smooth, rich, and creamy cream sauce. But what you wanna do is pour your cream sauce slowly so that it has a chance to go all the way through your mac and cheese. Now, if you see your cream sauce settling at the top, what you want to do is get that spoon, that wooden spoon, and kind of lightly open it up, open up a few gaps, and make sure the cream sauce gets all the way down to the bottom. That's the key. You want it to go all the way through. And we're going to keep pouring until every elbow mac is covered. I already know what you're thinking. This is a sinful dish. You got to understand, this is the kind of dish you only have once or twice a year. You're not going to eat mac and cheese like this on a regular basis. Every now and then, when you want to splurge and have something yummy, this is what it is. Now we're going to make the topping. Take an empty bowl, more melted butter. Need I say more? Okay, we're going to start with Italian breadcrumbs. It doesn't have to be Italian, it can be seasoned breadcrumbs, but some type of breadcrumb that has a little flavor to it. As you can see, a few herbs in there. Now the trick to the topping, this is going to give it a nice crunchy top. You have to pour in some melted butter very slowly. So I want the camera to come on into me and watch how I do this. Very slowly, I'm going to crumb this topping. And you'll see how it's done, because if you put too much butter, you're going to have to add more breadcrumbs and you're going to end up with way too much topping. So once you get a little butter in there, you start crumbing it with the fork. And as you can see, it's getting flakier and flakier. More butter. Wow. Okay, let's flake it again. Remember, don't add too much butter to your breadcrumbs because it'll be a hot mess. What you want is to slowly pour it in and crumb it. Crumb it with a fork. See, I'm using a fork. And I'm not making a paste or a clay, but I'm making buttered crumbs. And that's gonna give you that crunchy topping once that bakes on top. Ooh, this is gonna be yummy. You are going to top your mac and cheese, and you're just gonna slowly add your breadcrumbs. The key to being a great home chef is taking your time. The more you take your time, the more you will see that your recipes turn out perfect. It's ready to go into the oven. All right, we're gonna put it in, remember, 350 degrees for at least 30 to 40 minutes or until it's nice and stiff. Ooh, bubbly, bubbly, bubbly. Wow, look at that. Yummy! That looks delicious. You hear that bubbling? That's the creamy goodness that's in my mac and cheese. Woo! Oh, look at the cream coming through. I can hear the bubbling, I can see the brown crispiness, and I can smell the goodness. You know what, I'm gonna take a little out and put it on a plate just so you can see the consistency of what it should look like when it's done. Okay, make sure you get a nice big spoon so that you can get all the cream sauce. Some people like it a little creamier, and some people like it a little more firm, but this is exactly how I like it. It's perfect. It's got creamy, it's got crunchy, it's brown. Let me taste it. I've tasted it all my life, so I already know what I'm getting myself into. This is it. Just this plate, that's it. Mmm. 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 It's good! Sinfully good! Until next time.